Hi everyone, we are on our Pictured Rocks sunset cruise to Spray Falls with Pictured Rocks Cruises. This is a 2-hour cruise aboard their quicker catamaran boat, which can go the longer distance out to Spray Falls in a shorter time. Ticket prices in 2025 were as follows: 13 and older, $54 per person; ages 4 to 12, $19 per person; and under 4, $1 per person, which I feel is pretty reasonable for what I feel is the best way to see the Pictured Rocks area from the water. This is the Grand Island East Channel Light. It was first lit in 1868. It is 45 feet high. The light was very hard to see from Lake Superior, so it was deactivated in 1908. This first rock formation is Miner's Castle. It is the only cliff area in the park accessible by vehicle. We did drive to and hike this half-mile loop in a previous video. The loop from the information deck to all 3 overlooks and back is about a half mile. A short, paved, wheelchair-accessible trail leads to the first 2 overlooks. Access to the lower overlook includes stairs and a steep trail. Mineral-rich groundwater seeps through cracks in the sandstone, creating vibrant streaks of color from iron, reds and oranges, copper, greens and blues, manganese, browns and blacks, and calcium, white. Here's a great example of some of the caves along the Pictured Rocks shoreline. They are created from wave action along the soft, thin layer of rock. What appears to be bushes on top are actually old, stunted trees. In the winter, large waves will crash on top, and by midwinter, there will be 3 to 4 feet of ice up there, which stunts their growth. This rock formation is Lover's Leap. Legend has it that it gets its name from when a Native American woman jumped to her death from the cliff overhanging the water because her lover failed to return from a trip. The water below is said to be 3 feet deep. Here's a nice big cave. Yeah. This cave is called Rainbow Cave. There is groundwater seepage falling from the ceiling and into the lake. The groundwater runs year-round and creates huge, colorful icicles in the winter.
Some people say this section of cliff somewhat resembles the Painted Desert, and with enough imagination you can almost walk off into the distance. People see all sorts of things: Indians on horseback, trains, farm scenes, faces and profiles.
This large archway is called Grand Portal. The Grand Portal was once a large arch that allowed boats to pass through, that collapsed in 1906, leaving behind impressive, gradual changes to the remaining rock formations, which are now called the Grand Portal Point. Grand Portal Point is the highest rock formation along the pictured rocks at around 210 feet high. There used to be a series of caves and caverns that extended out and covered an additional 6 acres, but that collapsed in 1902. Well, here comes Battleship Row, an interesting set of rock outcroppings that just so happen to look like a row of battleships lined up as if they were ready to head out to sea. You can see a few sea caves in some of these rock formations. This next rock formation is called the flower vase. Imagine that the trees at the top are the flowers, the rock is the vase, with the narrowed midsection and the flared bottom. The next rock formation coming up, it kind of looks like a bear with 3 bear legs. This is the Indian drum, and they say when a 15-foot wave crashes inside, it sounds like thunder. This is Chapel Cove, one of the highlights of the cruise. If it's a smooth and clear day on Lake Superior, they will steer the boat into the tight Chapel Cove, where you will be surrounded by beautifully colored vertical walls on 3 sides. The water inside the cove is 15 feet deep. This is the picturesque Chapel Beach. The beach features high bluffs, the mouth of the Chapel River, Chapel Falls, a 60-foot high waterfall, and Chapel Rock. We are passing Chapel Falls now, and to the left you can see Chapel Rock. Chapel Rock may be the most photographed location during the entire stretch of the Pictured Rocks National Lakeshore. Adding to the appeal of Chapel Rock is the lone white pine tree perched atop its peak. It's estimated to be around 250 years old. It is truly a resilient tree. Chapel Rock once had a natural archway connecting it to the mainland, but it collapsed in the 1940s, leaving the tree stranded on its pedestal. Incredibly, its thick roots still extend out from the rock formation to the main body of cliffs. This root bridge is now a lifeline as the tree's main source of nutrients and water. This is the last point of interest of the cruise, Spray Falls, a 70-foot waterfall. The waterfall remains a year-round feature, even forming an ice column in the winter, with the falls continuing to flow through the center.